Welcome back to the birthplace of basketball. Pistons and Houston Rockets getting ready to close out the preseason tonight. Pistons, as you know, are 3-5 in the preseason trail with healthy bodies finally back intact here tonight. The Rockets, meanwhile, are 6-2. They, too, have had some injury problems in the preseason. So it'll be an interesting test tonight, Tom, to make sure that particularly the guys who have not played a lot, a la Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman and Isiah Thomas, get their legs in order. So I'd imagine this will be a little bit more than just a final tune-up.
Yeah, as we mentioned in the open, so often you do take this game off, and the coaches do as well. You know, they'd like to win it, of course. And tonight, it's just a little different. You know, this is such a competitive team, the Pistons, that they're going to want to at least get their confidence back. Not that it's shattered or anything like that, but they'll want to feel like we're playing well. And I think they made a big step in that direction on Sunday. You got Isiah back, you got Rodman back for a good solid 15 minutes of performing. And you start feeling like, well, the pieces are coming back again. And even though their record is not what they would hope it would be, I don't think anybody is too concerned with that under the circumstances.
Pistons, you may recall, a couple of years ago came in here, lost to the LA Clippers 110-104. Their other previous game in Springfield was the inaugural Hall of Fame game back in 1972 when they were beaten by the Celtics by a couple of points. I'm sure, you know, some guys would like to have this night off as they really get their game faces intact for the season opener on Friday. But then again, there's some charm about coming here. I know a lot of the guys were at the, or in fact, all of them were at the luncheon today, a big pool house luncheon at the hotel. You know, when you come back here and the Hall of Fame is so close by, I think it adds some extra incentive.
Oh, it makes it a little bit special, and also the fact that you're on national TV again tonight. You know, TNT's carrying this ball game, and it's one thing to embarrass yourself in front of a home crowd. It's another thing to do it nationally. So I think you'll see both Houston and Detroit playing pretty well. And one guy that may set a tone tonight, in addition to the competitive people that might be on the Detroit side, is Hakeem Olajuwon. He worked so hard for Coach Don Chaney, who you saw there. He worked so hard every single night that if you're not ready to play, you're going to get embarrassed out there. And even in a game like this where he might rather not play, he's going to be going all out. As soon as they throw it up, he turns into a machine.
We welcome our first-time viewers here on Free Preview Night as the Pistons and Bucks will open the season on Friday night. Our first regular season game will come your way from the Palace on Saturday evening. That'll be the first of 36 Pistons telecasts on Pass. So we're looking forward to our 7th season here at Pistons Basketball and Pro-Am Sports, and we'd love to have you be a part of it as we get underway at the Palace against the Cavs.
Wearing number 30, Kenny Smith.
Let's now get to the introduction of the roster.
Indiana University, wearing number 42, Mike Woodson.
Kenny Smith and Mike Woodson opening at guard. They've been doing that through most of the preseason because Sleepy Floyd's had some injury problems, and they've been very pleased with the two of those guys working together.
Also Vernon Maxwell, a guy who came on real strong for them last year at the point guard spot as a holdout. There's Hakeem, the franchise. Tom and I were talking before the game. It'd be hard to pick between he and Patrick Ewing if you had to say who's the best center in basketball.
You just like to pick one of them. Yeah. You know, Hakeem maybe the more relentless of the two. He doesn't have Patrick's all-around offensive game, I don't think, but he's pretty good himself. Defensively, both of them can block a tremendous amount of shots, but Hakeem's probably the better rebounder of the two. He did about 14 last year, led the league in rebounding and block shots. First guy to do that since Bill Walton.
Yep. Isiah and Joe Dumars are starting guards tonight. Mark Aguirre again opens up at small forward. Dennis Rodman will come off the bench. James Edwards opens at power forward. And the Sports Illustrated cover boy, Bill Laimbeer. That SI edition, by the way, the NBA preview edition, will come out tomorrow. And I guess they shot a few rolls of film with Billy this week.
Tons. And you never know who's going to be on the cover. And there was a theory at one point that if the World Series went 7 games, even though it would have been over a week ago, that would have taken precedence. Then there was some talk that the fight between Holyfield and Buster Douglas might bump him off the cover. So I think everybody was just waiting with bated breath. It's really a great honor to be singled out of all the players in the NBA to be on the cover of this issue. That's quite a prestigious award.
Here you see our officials for tonight. Paul Mahalik, the lead official, with Bernie Fryer.
Get a chance to see Bill Laimbeer's mask. Key thing with the mask, of course, is trying to spread the pressure away from the area that was fractured. He had his cheekbone, as you all know, fractured in about 6 places. I don't think too many people would be playing tonight.
There he is. Just in time for Halloween.
I remember when Jerry West was playing, he used to break his nose once or twice a year.
Yep.
And was forever playing in a mask similar to this.
I wonder if Billy will go house to house tomorrow night with that.
He may have the kids out tomorrow, I'm sure.
It'll be Houston basketball. David Wood to inbound it for Houston.
David Wood's come over from Europe. He's played pretty well for them. He started most of the preseason.
There's Mike Woodson. Missed the roller. Edwards got a piece of it. Comes down to Otis Thorpe. A real good lead. Kenny Smith. There's just inside of Olajuwon.
I really like Kenny Smith here. A lot of people have questioned his work habits, and of course his outside shot is a little periodic. It's not as consistent as you'd like. But he and Hakeem seem to be getting along very well.
Hakeem makes point guards look better than they are sometimes. Otis Thorpe waltzes in, but he traveled. So give it back to the Pistons.
A chance to see what Otis Thorpe does do well, though. He really runs the court for a big forward exceptionally well. He's right there in the Karl Malone class for getting up and down the floor.
Former Sacramento King. He's done very well since he came over to Houston. Aguirre against Wood. Should be an easy matchup for Mark this team.
Mark picking up where he left off on Sunday. He hit his last 3 shots from the field. They matched him up with Blue Edwards twice. He wore him out. Then they had to put Karl Malone on him. He buried one over him. And then Saturday they wanted to see Dennis Rodman play. Get some minutes. So Mark didn't see too much. His action in the first half.
Hakeem strong inside. Ball goes out of bounds to Houston. I guess if you had to pick a flaw in Hakeem's game, it just might be passing. He still sometimes doesn't give up the ball quick enough in double and triple teams, but that's really looking for something wrong in his game.
You're right, but that's exactly what they're looking at for, is a little more overall court awareness.
2-on-2, Dumars left open. He's strong off the back iron. Rebound Woodson. Sellout crowd here in Springfield. Kenny Smith didn't raise any eyebrows in Atlanta after he was traded from the Kings to the Hawks, but suddenly this trade here has really helped him. 4-2 Rockets. Aguirre. Too firm, rebound Thorpe. Smith likes to push the ball up the floor. Thorpe from outside. Oh, lucky bounce.
That's the shot you want Otis to take, though. You don't really like him inside. He gets most of his points off garbage and second shots. Excellent offensive rebounder. He averaged over 3 a game last year. Between he and Hakeem, they cover for a lot of mistakes on the part of the guards.
Dumars. Really misfired. Rebound Kenny Smith. Quick outlet to Woodson. Has to go to his former Indiana pal Isiah, and he scores. 8-2 Houston.
Everything for Detroit so far coming from the outside. Timeout, 20-second timeout by Jeff Daly. They want to run something to get inside. It's a little scary. People tend to shoot outside shots against Hakeem and this Rocket club.
All right, take a look at Hoosier on Hoosier in this fast break. Mike Woodson taking it right at Isiah.
Isiah actually does a nice job of cutting him off. That's a tough shot. You make a guy pick up his dribble and shoot about a 7-8 foot finger roll.
Thank you, Milton Bradley.
It had been thought that Woodson's career might be in the balance, what with the drafting of Dave Jamerson, a fine shooting rookie from Ohio U, but Woodson keeps hanging in there, and is the 11th year out of Indiana.
He lost his knee about 4 years ago and never quite came back from that. His shooting percentages, and he used to be a dead-eye outside shooter, has really fallen off. Last year, only 39%. If you're in the lineup just to shoot, and you're shooting 39, you're not going to have a job very long.
Hakeem Olajuwon on the foul. The big guy fouled out 6 times last year. So sometimes he does go for the head fakes a little bit early, but again, that's really nitpicking in his game if you have to try to find what is wrong with his overall scheme. Edwards. Nope. Rebound Hakeem. 14 boards a game for the rebounding leader in the NBA last year. Wants it in the paint, gets it against Edwards. Laimbeer helps out. Hakeem, no. Rebound Vinnie.
He was down there a long time, Hakeem was.
Isiah. Nice move inside. Missed the roller though. Tough break. Woodson comes down with it. Looking at a couple of white shirts. Checked by Laimbeer. Smith inside. Good pass to Thorpe. Creates the shot and scores. It is 10-2 Houston. They beat the Pistons in the game at the Summit last year and nearly beat them at the Palace.
Oh, they had that game won.
Yep. Aguirre fouled and he makes the bucket. Good shot by Mark.
Key right there was Mark was on his way as the ball came in. And when you're going against Houston, you got to do one of two things. Either you have to get it up quickly before a team gets there, or you have to go with a lot of head fakes. And as you mentioned before, any good shot blocker will go for fakes. That's how they get their totals. Hakeem still has the lighter leg. That's a full leg wrap that he has. Sat out with a little bit of phlebitis last year. Missed the whole preseason. Got off to a slow start. 19 points and 12 rebounds a game. He gets a slow start. It is for maybe he and 2 or 3 others.
Wood, no go, and then over the back of the foul, trying to get it back.
But as soon as Hakeem was healthy, he kicked it back up to 24 points, 14 rebounds, started to lead in block shots.
Houston went down to the final day last year, the regular season, before finally making the playoffs. They finished 41 and 41. Won a tiebreaker against Seattle. Aguirre scores again. Mark has all 7 Piston points. It is 10-7 Houston.
You can't let Mark set up that low. We're going to have to deny him that position if he can out high.
Pick by Thorpe. Roll didn't get it. Woodson fires. Too strong. Edwards and Hakeem battling for the rebound. Goes out off Edwards. So Houston keeps it.
Number 13,
Larry Smith, the first substitution tonight, the former Golden State Warrior.
He's coming in for defense. Immediately they take Wood out as Aguirre has the 7 points. Smith particularly good down low. We talked about denying Mark's position. Larry Smith can do that with anybody.
Hakeem railroads inside. Not much Edwards can do there. And a foul on James. I think he wanted this one. You see him lower that shoulder here. That's a tough call. Yeah, it sure is. James was moving his feet.
Hakeem, you move your feet when a car hits you. Another aspect of the game that could be improved. Shot 71% last year, 73 so far in the preseason. A lot of guys just decide they're going to foul the heck out of him down low rather than let him get the ball up. But he is so strong. And the scary part is he started working with weights this year for the first time.
Bob Aguirre again. He has 9. What a start for him. He has all Piston points in over 4.5 minutes of the ball game. Aguirre trailing Houston by 3. Woodson off a pick. And he got the bounce. Shooter's touch there.
No, the rim on the right seems to be very, very soft tonight. Thorpe had one earlier that went straight up and straight down.
14-9. Aguirre, no. Rebound. Good far side board by Laimbeer. He also had his mask bumped. They always kind of hold your breath now for a while that thing heals. Billy grimacing a little bit as he heads to the bench. Mike Abdenauer will make sure he's okay. Timeout on the floor. We're nearing the halfway mark of the opening quarter. Houston off to a 14-9 start. Throughout the winter season, as we mentioned, 36 Pistons regular season telecasts coming your way, including 8 in the month of November. And obviously, nearly 40 Red Wing telecasts left to go. Not to mention CCHA hockey and a lot more. College basketball all winter long on pass. We mentioned the Cleveland game Saturday. Next week we'll be coming your way from Seattle. A 10 o'clock start on Tuesday, a week from tonight, as the Pistons will take on the Supersonics. Also in November, games with Miami, New Jersey, Indiana, Washington, Sacramento, and New York. Quest for 3-peat begins in earnest Friday night at the Palace. Isiah misses. Edwards rebounds. Rebound to Larry Smith. That's been his game throughout his career. Kenny Smith streaks down and scores. He does have a pop in his step in his uniform, doesn't he?
He really does. Must be that red look, something like that. They say that's the fastest color.
Is that what it is?
Psychologically, yeah.
I know if you drive one, you get more tickets that way, for sure. Laimbeer posting. Nice little left-handed hook. One of goaltend is what Laimbeer's asking for.
They may get it. That's a tough call because I don't think that ball ever went over 10 feet high. And it was coming up a little bit short. The Lambs was hit below before he had time to get anything into this shot.
You don't see Billy make that move very often. On the opposite block, coming in with a left-handed hook.
They had Larry Smith on him at 6'8". Pretty good look at the mask there. It's a very important game for Bill Laimbeer just to get his timing back. You know, sitting out a week is a long, long time. You lose your wind, you lose your sharpness and your edge.
Olajuwon hits it.
He is so quick, and he has so many options when he gets down in the paint. But you tend to bite on every fake that he shows you. You will not have time to recover if you miss it.
Laimbeer out high, tries for 5 straight points, and he gets it. They gave him the bucket on the goaltend. Now he drills the jumper.
One down.
And Laimbeer joining Aguirre on the score sheet. It is 18-14 Houston. Good pick and roll. Olajuwon wasn't ready for the bullet. Caught it off his nose. Turnover Houston.
The key for Houston to be successful this year will be the outside shooting because everybody tends to double and triple team on Hakeem down in the paint. They need Woodson or Jamerson to come up big, spread the floor, and give Hakeem more room to work.
Houston switching. Woodson now on Laimbeer. Going out high and Thorpe. Tough shot. Rebound to Olajuwon. Well, he went up for that one. He is so quick off his feet. So is Kenny Smith. Too quick for Bernie Fryer. No traveling was called. Olajuwon spinning, scoring.
Oh, you're in trouble when Hakeem makes those shots.
Yep.
He's going to wear you out inside. He likes to set up on the lower left block and then come towards the center for a little baby hook. That's his favorite move. But long ago, he came up with a lot of options off of it.
Dumars had to readjust with Woodson coming at him. We have a loose ball foul. It's going to go on Thorpe. Watch Olajuwon in the post. He's so strong. His range is about to 15 feet, but he loves that spin move. And he'll hit that shot 60% plus every night. Time on the floor with 4:59 remaining in the first quarter. We're coming to you from the Springfield Civic Center where the Rockets lead the Pistons 20-14. Pass, a part of a free Devil's Night preview offered by your Southeast Michigan cable systems in an effort to encourage safety here on Devil's Night.
Wait, whoa. Festival of Lights.
Oh, okay.
Festival of Lights.
Let's clarify it. Hakeem Olajuwon leads Houston in scoring so far. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mark Aguirre has 9 to lead the way for the Pistons. In fact, he and Laimbeer have all 14 points as Billy has hit the last 5 for Detroit. Well, I imagine he'll take some ribbing from the teammates on making the cover of Sports Illustrated. Again, it comes out tomorrow.
I guess they're picking the Pistons to win again.
David Dupree of USA Today said the same thing.
Different publications that you pick up. A lot of them tend to lean toward Chicago winning the East. One of the publications came out rating the teams from 1 to 27. They picked Phoenix first, Detroit second. Is the best team in the league.
Yeah, a lot of people feel it's Phoenix's turn in the West.
A lot of people thought it was last year.
Yep. Ball out of bounds to Houston.
If the Pistons stay healthy, they'll be around there. They'll be in the hunt.
I would like to think so. This Houston club, pretty good club, but you can make a case that they're maybe only the 7th or 8th best team in the West.
See how quick Kenny Smith got down there?
Sure did. Olajuwon again was not suspecting the pass. Dumars breaks away and scores.
Isiah was step for step with Kenny Smith down there, and Kenny just turned on the afterburners. Don Chaney said we have 3 or 4 of the quickest guards in all of basketball. And Kenny Smith running Maxwell, Sleepy Floyd when he's healthy. So they can move.
Again, Maxwell is a contract holdout, expected though to sign within the next couple of days. Olajuwon No go in the hook. Rebound to Larry Smith. To Kenny Smith. Left-handed doozy. That is a great shot. 22-17. Well, Smith looks like an entirely different player with his club, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Dumars off a good pick by Laimbeer. Nice dish to Aguirre. Marking a finger roll.
That was a real interesting shot. And Hakeem was sizing up the overhand layup that time. Mark gave him a different look by going low.
Put it through his forefinger and his big finger, I think. 22-19. Smith traveled.
Now, you don't worry about Larry Smith offensively if you're playing defense. You want to encourage him to shoot. The only question is how far out on the floor can you push him? Here you see a nice outlet from Aguirre to Dumars for the layup. Somebody else had to score tonight.
I was wondering where that was going to happen. Edwards posting on Thorpe. Fade away. Count it. James' first two. Pistons within a point now at 22-21. It was 10-2 early.
Okay, we should talk a little bit tonight about how Mark Aguirre has played in the preseason. His rebounding and defensive effort has been outstanding. He had 10 boards, a little more than a half on Sunday against Utah.
Mark averaging 9 points a game. To go with 5 boards a night during the preseason. But again, that's in limited minutes. William Bedford off the bench. Kenny Smith for 3. Rebound Aguirre. Edwards sits down. Bedford replacing him.
That's a long shot for Kenny Smith to shoot with his rotation. He does not have a natural release, and he's got kind of a planetary rotation on his jump shot.
Dumars off the pick. Nice dish to Isiah. A blind feed. Seek misfired. Ball out of bounds to Houston. 3:01 to play in the first quarter. Now, Kenny Smith will not burn you from outside the three-point arc.
A very streaky shooter, and over the course of the season, he's more off than on, or at least that's been the history.
Well, this is probably the best team that he's played for.
Yeah, he's got some options. He was with Sacramento for a few years. And you saw the double team right there. What they're trying to work with Hakeem on is to get him to recognize as soon as he gets the ball where the pressure's coming from. So you'll see him look towards the center to see who's coming to help. Immediately on a double team, of course, somebody's open. Key thing is don't stand there and hold it and don't shoot into trouble.
Woodson misfired. Long rebound to Isiah. 2-on-1 with Dumars against Kenny Smith. Look out, Kenny Smith.
Nicely run. Dumars hesitated to give Isiah a chance to make it a legit 2-on-1 and then closed as soon as Isiah drew Kenny Smith to him.
Beautifully run 2-on-1. Dumars has 4. Olajuwon, too strong. Thorpe kept it alive for Woodson for the layup. I don't know if he tried to tip it to him, but it sure turned out right. And the Rockets go back in front. Woodson with 6. 2:10 to play in the quarter. Bedford picked. Isiah shot. Rebound Smith. Here comes Kenny Smith. Never pushing the ball up the floor. Woodson tries 2. Rattled it. Isiah high for the rebound and take it away from the 6'8" rebound. Zeke streaks. Pass the fastball through the hands of Bedford. Williams says, I should have had it. But that was a screamer.
Oh, yeah. Tough pass and a tougher catch. But it was there. One of those things, that's where knowing it's coming, like Bill Laimbeer does when he plays down there, when you know it's coming, you're just a little more prepared. You're not reacting, you're anticipating. Bedford's still learning as he gets more and more time with Isiah. Keep in mind that William usually plays with a second unit.
Olajuwon missing, but there's a foul. It's going to go against Bedford. Dave Feidel is off the Houston bench. He is out there wearing number 5 for the Rockets.
Thorpe also a notoriously poor free throw shooter. That can hurt this team as they get into the playoffs. You remember last year they had game 1 virtually won against the Lakers, or won. Game 2 they had a 19-point lead, I think, and gave it away. And you look at free throws when you get in those situations. Because teams will put you on the line in an effort to get back in the game by turning up the tempo on their defense. And if you can't make free throws, you're in trouble. That's where Boston was able to win for so many years because they had nothing but 80 and 90%ers down there.
Aguirre places up. Bedford up back to Sleepy Floyd to get the rebound, so it's a second foul on Bedford. Well, that game at the Palace we talked about last year, Houston hit something like 2 for 10 at the free throw line the last couple of minutes and wound up losing that game to the Pistons. That was the game that Dennis Rodman blocked the attempted shot by Hakeem Olajuwon in the final couple of seconds. It would have won the ball game. Maybe the best defensive play of the year for the Pistons.
Pistons won the game in overtime. Yep. What a comeback. I think the Pistons were down something like 8 with 2 minutes to go. These are important minutes for William Bedford, who just picked up that shot from Sleepy Floyd. As we say, he usually plays with that second unit. And I think for him to be successful with his team, he's going to have to play with a different caliber of player and get used to playing with those people and figuring out what his role there is, because he won't necessarily be just a shooter as he has turned out to be with the second group.
Isiah, perfect stroke there, his first 2. And it is 28-25. Sleepy Floyd running the Houston offense. Final posting. Aguirre with a man's rebound. Mark will lead it up himself. Dumars with plenty of time on the shot clock, waiting for somebody to get open.
You can take Sleepy. He's a little too strong for him.
7 on the shot clock. Bedford on the base. Rebound tipped by Dumars. There is misfire. Here comes Kenny Smith. 3 on 3. Sleepy Floyd, way shot. Rebound, an easy one for Laimbeer. Final 30 seconds of the quarter.
The Pistons can be more effective inside right now because of the absence of Olajuwon.
Think for 3.
Be more effective outside too, of course.
Yes. Lest we forget the addition to Isaiah's game. We'll ever forget the 3-point performance he put on, 11 for 15 in the NBA Finals against Portland.
This is a real good decision here. There was time left on the clock, so Isiah was able to get this thing off in an effort to do a little 2-for-1 action. 2 shots for 1.
Made that look easy. And you're tied at 28. And now checking the game clock to see if 21.2 seconds is accurate.
24-2, reset to 24.
So now they're going to change the shot clock so that it matches the game clock.
Yeah, I think they've lost a couple seconds here. I believe he got it up early enough where the Pistons would have had a 2-for-1 opportunity.
Well, time moves quickly when you're having fun.
Well, now they're putting a few more seconds back on the game. Okay, well, we have a discrepancy of 0.2 of a second. Could have got to be able to get that shot off that amount of time.
So the Rockets will work it down for probably the final shot of the quarter.
Good chance to see who the go-to guy is here. Normally it would be Woodson or Sleepy Floyd.
Kenny Smith nearly lost it. Floyd has to hurry. Thorpe fires. Missed the bank that I'm sure he did not want to take. So the Pistons do a nice job defensively to close out the final possession of the opening quarter. Good first quarter. Both teams going at it pretty good here. 28-28 after the first break. We'll be back. Numbers, Houston at 44%. Pistons at 43%. Rebounding 13-12 in favor of the Rockets. Turnovers 5 already for Houston. Only 1 for the world champs. Mark Aguirre leading all scorers with 11 points. Hakeem Olajuwon and Kenny Smith each with 8 for Houston.
Dennis Rodman checking in right now with John Sally and Vinnie Johnson off the Piston bench. The injury to Isiah, the only good thing about that was that it did give Vinnie Johnson a chance actually to be force-fed minutes. And it helped him. Played well against Philly, yeah, very well against Philly.
21 points. So it's a second quarter lineup now of Rodman, Sally, Bedford. How about that for a leaping, quick front line? Vinnie Johnson and Isiah Thomas in the backcourt.
We'll watch Rodman's leg. It's a left ankle. See if he favors it at all. He's working against Larry Smith.
Poke away, Olajuwon. You think he's going to dunk here? Whoa, Vinnie Johnson. Nice job to keep Hakeem from getting the easy dunk and makes him earn it at the foul line. It's a good foul here.
Good indication of the quickness of Hakeem and the speed of Vinnie Johnson to get back just to bother that shot.
And then not get hurt.
All right.
In case you just joined us, the Rockets got off to an early 10-2 lead. Pistons came back for a couple of brief leads themselves. Houston up 1 right now as we begin the second quarter. Dave Feito on loose ball rebound. Pistons and Rockets on preview night. We're on Doubles Night. Festival of Light. We're going to keep working on it. I'll do that. Olajuwon and Sally. Hakeem one-on-one. Good job by John. Rebound off Bedford's head. Olajuwon on the run. Dave just missed the rebound. Had it in his hands for a brief second.
Those are the things that hurt you. Pistons gave up a second shot on a free throw miss, and then right there had a rebound that lets it away.
Olajuwon to Sleepy Floyd. Touch feed to Woodson. Block Sally, but a foul. But good hustle by John to make sure the layup was not an easy one. Bedford and Isiah Thomas sit down as you look at it again.
You had a chance to see it right there. What happens on that so often is that if a ball doesn't touch the rim, it really screws up a rebounder. You expect there's going to be some kind of a reaction or hesitation, and then when it's not there, it'll hit you in the head.
Yep. That happened to you a few times?
Even if it hit the rim. That's why I'm over here.
It's a little tough walking around life with Spalding across your forehead. 33-28. Rockets have scored the first 5 points of the quarter. Lance Blanks is in for Isiah Thomas. Edwards is back out there for Bedford. Rodman, rebound. Too high off the board. Rebound to Woodson. Houston wants a 3-on-3. Woodson seeing it. Leaves it for Feito for a 14-foot gun to Thorpe. Dave Feito, I guess his claim to fame was that preseason fight with Ricky Mahorn a couple of years ago in Baltimore, as I recall. Pretty big boy.
I would say he had a chance to be a decent backup, but he kind of struck out with several teams now.
Yeah, he's kind of kicked around. And the Houston foul. It's going to go on Woodson. How's the apple cider tonight?
Not bad. Good. Fine Massachusetts apple.
Vinnie Johnson fights it up short. Rebound. Here comes Houston. Good pass from 54 to Naismith. A couple of ex-Golden State Warriors teaming up there. Naismith for the field goal. 37-28, just like that. Houston off to a 9-0 spurt. Taylor wants to talk it over. 9:58 to play in the second quarter from Springfield, Mass. Houston leading 37-28 will return. Cable subscriber for more information and pricing details for Pistons, Red Wings, CCHA hockey, and a lot more all winter long.
The Rockets on a 9-0 run right now. Pistons struggling with this group out there to get high percentage shots. One thing you have to realize when you're playing the Rockets, particularly with this lineup of Smith, Feito, and Olajuwon out there, you're not going to get too many second chances. So you better take high percentage shots the first time through, and then you got to get back on defense, so they'll try and run it down your throat, which they've done successfully the last couple of minutes.
Well, they foul away from the ball. John Sally, his second. So the Rockets get it right back. John was hooked up with Dave Feito in the low post. Blanks bodying Sleepy Floyd. Olajuwon with a quick step. Sally right there with him. Baseball feed to Woods. Nice touch pass to Larry Smith and blows the layup. Ball volleyball out to Sleepy Floyd. Great pass again to Smith. Blocked by Rodman. And a travel on Houston on Smith, so the Pistons get it back. They really swarmed to the ball a couple of times this time.
They got a great chance to see Rodman come out of nowhere to make that last block. That's a good thing to see. He exploded off that foot that time.
Pain or no pain. Illegal defense. Well, I guess the injury does not affect him per se in terms of how he gets off the floor. It's just that there's a lot of pain there, correct?
Yeah, well, if there's pain, it's going to affect how you can get up. It's got to affect them, ballistically. The ability to go up, and one of the strengths that Vinnie has is the ability to jump not only the first time, but the second and the third. Ballistically? Ballistically, yeah. It's an explosive. Okay, I got it.
That works in Washington. Sally in a crossover move. Feed to Edwards for the nice little feathery layup.
Excellent move by Sally. Good recognition on the defense. Beat his man. Waited for Olajuwon to commit.
Pistons took 3 minutes to get their first field goal, but it comes from Edwards. Now they've got a Detroit foul.
Number 32,
It's on blanks.
You see Hakeem come over on a commitment, and then a quick pass from Sally to Edwards. Your man leaves you. Go to the hole.
Olajuwon bangs into Sally. No go. Ball out of bounds off Thorpe. Sally's done a pretty nice job on Olajuwon.
Yeah, he has. He's trying to counteract him with quickness.
Blanks. Dish inside to Sally. John squares up. Rebound Olajuwon. Foul Rodman. Dennis couldn't get out of the way of that one. That's his first. When Hakeem decides the rebound is his, he squeezes the basketball. Woodson off the pick, no go, rebound to Sally. Vinnie Johnson bothered that shot.
And Sal had Olajuwon boxed out that time. You can sacrifice yourself and call it a draw if neither you or Hakeem gets the rebound. But the other guys pull their weight. Just want to neutralize them.
Blanks, high archer, no. Sally with a tip. Lost it off his shoe. And they keep the ball. We played 4 minutes of the second quarter. Houston by 7. Joe Dumars back in. Lance Blanks sits down. This is looking to go 4-5 in the preseason. I mentioned Houston 6-2 and team with a bang.
I think I heard him call that in Nigeria.
That's called squish in Nigeria. 39-30. Edwards. Double team momentarily. Easy shot in front of him. I say easy because he wound up going right over it.
Well, that's there for Buddha if he wants it. That's clear out on Feidel. There's not much Dave can do. Not too many guys can stop Edwards except Edwards.
Yeah, if his shot is on, as we saw so many times last year, you've got to commit a double team to it. Feidel. On the other hand, not much of an offensive creator, and Edwards gets a foul.
Jimmy's smiling about that. That's not a foul you want to commit. Feidel, again, one of those guys who wants shooting the ball.
Now Laimbeer puts the mask back on as he reports for Edwards. He's down with his second foul.
Now we're in Celtic territory if you pick that up at home over your receiver. Couple of boos. Bill's not big in Boston.
Someone actually got a smatter in the cheers there, which is anytime he's away from the palace, that's a plus.
They love him if he had green on, though.
Oh.
It'd be a throwback to the old Celtics.
Are you kidding me?
To the second coming.
Yep. But it's not going to happen. A foul on Feidel. Nearing the halfway mark of the second quarter. Stay with us at halftime. We'll be chatting with Joe Dumars. Laimbeer out high.
Feidel committed too much on the two-man game. He went with the guard, as did Sleepy Floyd. That left Laimbeer alone at the top of the key. They run that play to death. It's amazing how often it works.
At least 3 for 3 shooting.
Good job, Sally, getting off.
Floyd denied penetration by Dumars. Olajuwon. A little bit outside his range, missed the knuckleball. Rebound Laimbeer. Vinnie looking up the floor, 3-on-4. Pass intended for Sally, who had already cut to the hoop. Here comes Floyd in the open court. 2-on-3. Lines in. Laimbeer yanks it down to Dumars. 3 red shirts back the other way, so Joey slows it down. Sally sets that pick. Dumars nice to the hole. Olajuwon bothers the shot. Rodman pulls it down. Block goal 10. Give the hoop to Rodman. He caught it on the way down.
That was a good drive by Dumars. He made the defense again commit to him. There goes Hakeem. Thorpe's in there. Sally kept it alive. Rodman with the foul. Rodman, Sally. Good work on the offensive boards.
Yep, they're cutting to that difference. Now Vinnie Johnson will steal off the hands of Woodson. Bounce pass to Dumars. No! Sleepy Floyd defending. Vinnie Johnson follows in off the Rodman miss.
The Pistons are back in the ballgame.
I'll say they are. They're down 1.
Much better defense. As usual, as we've learned over the last few years, when the defensive end picks up, the offensive follows.
So the 9-point differential is almost gone. 39-38, 5:33 left to play in the second quarter. We'll return to the birthplace of basketball after this timeout. Senior professional baseball as it kicks off its second season down in Florida and Arizona this year. What's your favorite sports heroes of the past, like Milt Wilcox and company? That starts next month on Pass. You got a chance to see the Basketball Hall of Fame today. How was it?
Oh, it's kind of interesting. It really is. It's a lot of great displays. They've actually got at the end of the Hall of Fame, after you've gone through all the memories and everything else, they have a number of different baskets set up in one little room, and you're continuously fed basketball, so you can shoot at the old peach baskets, you can shoot at small baskets, large ones, distant ones, close ones. One of those things, you stay there and embarrass yourself. Shoot it for about a half an hour
And hope nobody's
watching. Exactly right.
David Wood is back in there for Houston. No changes for the Pistons. Woodson, no. Rebound to Wood. Rodman was all over him. There's a foul on Laimbeer on the pass to Thorpe.
The first foul on number 40, Laimbeer.
So Thorpe has a couple coming. Well, injuries hurt this Houston club last year. A lot of people thought they might be the team to beat in the Midwest Division, but the emergence of David Robertson in San Antonio and the again strong play of Utah, Rockets almost became an afterthought in that division.
Heck, they've got a pretty good team this year. You know, if you look at them on paper, that's not a bad squad. But you've got the 2 teams you mentioned. You've got Dallas, who's made some key acquisitions this year.
The Western Conference is really loaded. Salek in the face. Rebound Vinnie. Goes back up to it.
Amazing. I think Vinnie will be 43 years old and still getting that rebound. They have a great nose for it in the paint.
Making a couple million by that time. 41-40 Houston. Mike Woodson. No, rebound to Rodman. Maybe we have player coach by there. Dumars tried to bounce pass to Sally. Olajuwon knocked it away. Wood stole it. Here comes Kenny Smith who's back in the game. He's quick. Dumars stayed with him though.
He anticipated the burst.
Yes, he did. Olajuwon, that's his shot.
Yep. Notice his shot earlier, right. He sets up on that left block, takes a one dribble move into the paint. When he puts the ball on the floor, you've got to go after him.
Laimbeer from the baseline. Rebound Olajuwon. He had Rodman boxed off. That's a great duel of rebounders. Helps when you're 4 inches tall. Kenny Smith got a pick from Thorpe. There's a foul away from the ball. Rodman and Olajuwon. You see what happened there?
Looked like a bang in there. They banged arms. Were pushing and shoving up top.
I was watching the ball and that occurred at the top of the circle. Watch the upper portion of the screen there. There's Rodman and Olajuwon. Got the elbows a little high and Hakeem with a forearm shiver to the chin of Dennis. justice prevailing. Olajuwon missing the first.
One thing I know the Pistons are hoping this year, Rodman winning the Defensive Player of the Year award, is that officials will give him some breaks on the defensive end. One thing we noticed in the playoffs last year, they took away his ability to draw a charge. He could not get one in the finals against Portland and actually against Chicago as well.
Which made no sense since he'd done it all season long, in fact, the last 3 seasons. Sally thought about a nice crossover move, and Olajuwon hit the bottom of the rim, though. Ball comes down to Olajuwon. John just lost the handle. Made a terrific move to get inside.
That was 2/3 of the break play.
David Wood thought about 3, and realized Don Chaney was sitting behind him saying, you're up. Wood gets inside, pushes to Thorpe, runs into Laimbeer, flanks it off the side of the backboard, comes down to Vinnie.
Otis had a foul in his favor that time.
Vinnie now clearing Sally out of the way.
He was trying to get the one-on-one move with him matched up on Wood. Or asleep because of that.
DJ misfires, gets his own rebound, of course. What else is new? Inside to Rodman. Missed the reverse. Was blocked by Olajuwon. There's a foul, though. It's going to go on. Well, it is on Hakeem. Thought they might give it to Thorpe.
A nice pass that time. Rodman with Hakeem there tries to make the circus shots. That looked like a pretty good block by the right arm. Maybe a little contact with the left. Good shot blockers like Hakeem make you shoot the ball off the string.
And he's just so quick and tenacious.
Now, we saw him minute. It's going to be real interesting to see his impact on that Philadelphia team. We saw him on Friday. And he just changes the way you attack the basket. And Philly had a lot of trouble stopping teams with good people last year. And they just insert Bowl in small doses. And for 5 minutes, you have to change everything that you set out to do that night. See a little contact. Watch the bottom of your screen as Laimbeer is there with Olajuwon. Boy, that's a interesting call.
Paul Mahalik ruling that Laimbeer had hooked his arm. Second foul on Philly. Stay tuned with us at halftime. We'll be taking you inside the Basketball Hall of Fame, as well as chat with Joe Dumars, who's continuing to be a star of stage and screen in commercial endeavors. He's part of the Arbor Drug Picture-Picture campaign.
It'd be real interesting this year for the fans to watch Joe and Isiah playing together. I think they may take their collective games up to a new level. They know each other so well. It's so instinctive out there right now.
I think they will be favorably compared with the great backcourts of all time before they're done, if they're doing it now.
Well, Jack McCloskey has said, in fact, if they win one more, I mean, they're going to overlook these guys. And you have to throw in Vinnie, too. It's a 3-guard combination. I can't recall another time when 3 guards were the center or the focus of the team's offense. And there have been a lot of great threesomes. They've usually had a lot of scoring coming from up front. But
there's never been a focus on a threesome like that. Scott Hastings in the ballgame. Sets a pick for Vinnie. DJ back out to Aguirre is also out there.
he's matched up with Wood again. We'll see if he goes at him.
You better believe it. 15-footer is perfect. Aguirre with his first field goal since an 11-point opening quarter. 46-43 is the Houston lead.
Mr. Wood yelling switch as soon as Mike hits the ball right now.
Or how about help?
Get me out of here.
I need somebody. Not just anybody. Olajuwon, double team by Dumars. There's a foul in there. And it's going to go on Hastings.
Scott does a nice job in low post defense. We've had some success using him against Ewing, of course. See, the whole team just clears out and lets Mark work it. He likes to take that fadeaway jump shot. He'll show you the ball and then lean back and nail it.
I know he felt he needed to put on some more weight last year to give him some extra strength, but I like him when he slimmed down.
Yeah, I think he likes him when he slimmed down too. You know, it was you always work on theories as a ball player. I think if I can do this, I can get a little advantage. And he picked up the weight. He felt he had more strength, do more things inside. And that may or may not have been the case, but he realized what he lost on the other end of the floor.
We got a foul on Hastings. Scott with a verbal no-no, and that rang through this little building. And as a result, Paul Mahalik is about 30 feet away. So, that's a check.
A tiny little building like this, everybody got an earful on.
So the technical free throw makes it 49-43. Out to Palace, you wouldn't have heard that. Olajuwon, look at that quick spin move. Hastings recovered nicely, though. Aguirre picked up Kenny Smith. Olajuwon, whoa! Laimbeer got the rebound, lost it. Olajuwon, foul from behind by Hastings. Scott didn't argue that one.
Houston's putting a lot of guys on the offensive board. They come away with a number of second chance opportunities. That's a good pass by Wood. But you see the flow inside, and there's a foul by Hastings.
So the Rockets can kick it back up to 8 after the Pistons had trimmed it to 1. 1:38 remaining until halftime.
One of the things that the Pistons have missed. We're seeing an example tonight of the missed free throws by Houston. They could be off to the races tonight. One of the things the Pistons missed in Laimbeer's absence is that consistent defensive rebounding game that he always gives us to. You can count on him for 10 almost night in, night out. And that cuts down on second shot opportunities. That gives you a chance to get off on your break with some easy baskets.
And they lost the handle. Keep Thorpe to the ball. Billy dishes to Aguirre. Mark on Kenny Smith. Fires it up, figuring he can get a foul call, and he got a whistle.
He's hoping, because the Pistons were running on a short clock right there, and Mark had to force that.
I should have had it right in my hand.
I thought there might have been an over and back on this situation. Laimbeer lost it. Watch his foot. Did he go over the timeline? Of course not. Wearing those cons. They fall a little bit short in line. I love that campaign in this commercial this summer. The con man. Having Earl Strom saying he's a con man. 50-45 is our score. 1:10 to go until halftime. Olajuwon wants to get Hastings. Healing the defense. First one against Detroit. So it'll be inbounded from the side by Houston.
Hakeem will force a lot of illegal defenses. When he learns to pass better, he'll really freeze a lot of the guards coming down to double team in that moment of indecision, because he'll just pass over them.
Screen by Thorpe. Jumper by Kenny Smith. He knocked that down nonchalantly. 52-45. I guess if you can say ballistically, I can say nonchalantly.
One or under. Get it better than me.
Laimbeer out high for the pick for Vinnie Johnson. Floyd had trouble fighting through it. Ball rotation to Dumars. 20-foot gun. Nope. Rebound Hakeem. Did he push off to get it?
They may have Thorpe down there, or Wood. Looks like they got Wood. Scott Hastings was down there trying to get position on that offensive board. Just tie up people. From a Houston perspective, they just tie up the other team. The team will take care of the rest of the ball.
I would say, yeah, the foul's on Wood. He sits down. Hastings has a couple coming. Scott spent some time this summer with the weights.
Had a great game against New York. Had 8 boards, filling in for Laimbeer. Steady play.
Houston flips it. Aguirre with an interception. Pistons get it back. They can go 2 for 1 here now. They're down 6. Laimbeer for 3. Got it!
Big shot. That little sequence changed the game here.
So the Pistons ripped off 4 points. Keep in mind they'll get the ball back. Now they're down just 3. Laimbeer shooting the ball really well. He has 11. That mask obviously not affecting his vision at all. He had a good shooting day at practice, as a matter of fact, yesterday. No clock, no clock. Floyd forces, beat the shot clock. Rebound, Larry Smith, lucky for Houston. Now they got to hurry to beat the halftime buzzer. Smith does, but misses the shot. So it could have been a lot worse. Pistons coming back with a flurry here to close the second quarter, trailing at intermission 52-49. Stay with us. We'll take you to the Basketball Hall of Fame and chat with Joe Dumars after this timeout. Springfield, Massachusetts, where the Pistons trail here at halftime by 3. And the pace of this game has been pretty good for a preseason game. I think these guys were giving it their all.
Well, they're playing pretty hard, and for the Pistons, it's just a matter of executing their offense, I think, a little more consistently and hitting their shots. They've played sporadically well. It's been enough to stay in this game, and they've needed a superhuman effort, Houston has, from Hakeem, who has 21 points in the first half already, in order to keep the lead on the Pistons. I think if Detroit just clamps down, continues to play well, they can come out of here with a victory, and they'd like to do that to start off the season on a win.
Neither team has really gotten hot from the field. Let's look at the first half numbers. Pistons and Rockets both shooting at 40%. The Rockets actually have 7 fewer shots. And where they made up the difference is at the free throw line. They're shooting 78%, 18 out of 23, so they've outscored the Pistons by 11 points in free throwing. Rebounding, the Pistons leaded by 125-24. Turnovers low on the Pistons side was 6. Houston has 8. And bench points, not much of a factor so far in the ball game. Just 15 points combined for the two clubs off the benches. Leading scorers so far, Mark Aguirre has 15 points, 11 coming in the opening quarter. Becky opened with the first 11 points for Detroit. Phil Laimbeer then hit the next 5 Piston points en route to 11 first half points. James Edwards has 6. He's had some foul trouble. And Isiah Thomas, who has not looked to shoot too much here in the first half, has 5 points. Hakeem Olajuwon, as Tom mentioned, leading the way for everybody with 21 points. He is also 9 for 12 from the line. Otis, Thorpe, Kenny Smith, Mike Woodson, all with 8 for the Rockets. Individual numbers, Hakeem Olajuwon also with 7 rebounds. He leads everybody in that department. Laimbeer and Rodman pacing the Piston rebounding effort with 5 boards apiece. So home opener Friday night with the Milwaukee Bucks, a club that always gives.
That's going to be a difficult game. You know, they're going with a front line of Cadillac Anderson, Frank Brakowski, and Jack Sikma. Now, name-wise, that may not scare you, but those are 3 pretty solid players, big guys who will bang and get a lot of rebounds on the defensive end and give you a lot of second opportunities on the offensive end as well. And Alvin Robertson is really attacking everybody on the defensive end. He and Jay Humphries playing the guard positions. But Alvin can disrupt you as much as almost any guard defensively in basketball.
And they're very well coached.
Yes, they are. Very, very solid. They play you, in a fairly relentless style. That will not be an easy game. Make no mistake about it. Pistons would be thrilled to get out of that one with a victory, particularly in the emotional aftermath of the ring ceremony and everything else.
And Cleveland, of course, comes in with all their talent on Saturday night. We'll have that one for you on Pass beginning at 7:30. But of course, look at Danny Ferry. Kenny Smith tries a 3-point knuckleball. Isiah with the rebound. Zeke, quick step inside, and he scores from left hand.
Boy, Zeke can still explode when he hits the paint.
Kenny Smith can vouch for that.
He had some great shots against Utah on Sunday up in Toronto.
Now with that left-handed hook over Mark Eaton and Thurl Bailey. Right along the baseline. That was a beauty. Had to really throw it up high. Smith hit it. More in his range. He has 10.
Continue to be consistent. You know, you almost have to change that shot. It's very unforgiving because he shoots in a low trajectory, which doesn't give him too many options. Ooh, that's a tough foul.
Yeah, and Isiah Thomas offensive foul. Ran into Wood. Isiah couldn't believe that one.
Yeah, he was pretty well established down there. Isiah only got him with a portion of his body. Thought Wood might have been leaning just a little bit.
Ron Garrettson making that call. Short, spinning. Shot was short. And a loose ball foul. Goes against Laimbeer, I believe. It was Wood. Isiah with that left-handed shot a moment ago. Foul was on Wood. Pass intended for Aguirre, sails out of bounds. Woodson, ball fake lost Dumars. Missed it though. He used to hit those kind of shots all the time. Loose ball foul against Houston again. It's on Thorpe. And Isiah has to readjust the goggles.
Loose ball foul and a foul on number 33, Houston, Otis Thorpe.
3-point game. 2 minutes of the third quarter. Isiah, Dark City side. I don't think they're going to call it goaltend. Although Olajuwon ate it up after the foul.
Now, this may have been an offensive foul, but I don't think they're going to call it. Watch that arm go out right there, the little left-handed push. The team really covers up where you take a lot of chances as a guard with the team behind you because you saw how far he came that time to bail out Naismith.
Foul was on Smith. That ball barely left Isiah's fingertips as it turned out.
Pistons controlling their defensive board so far here in the second half. That's important. They had 14 defensive boards last and actually 11 offensive rebounds for the Pistons, which was better than Houston did, considering all the people they have. So, of course, that's Dennis coming up at 3, which is a good sign for the Pistons. And Vinnie Johnson, who's hitting the book for a couple every time he plays.
Again, we want to welcome you to free preview night here on Devil's Night. And tomorrow's your last chance to sign up for the special rate for pass throughout the season.
And it is going to be an interesting season, Fred, if the Pistons go for that three-peat. Some different teams. Some teams playing a little bit better this year, even in the East. Cleveland will be different, as you mentioned. Milwaukee's going to be, I think, the surprise team over there. I really do. I think they're going to be a very solid team. They could win more than half of their ball games. You know, they find a way to hang around all the time.
Dumars, nice rebound, took it away from Wood. And then a travel. Dumars saved it for James and couldn't collect the dribble.
They could have called Joe for a little travel there. And James just gets his feet tangled as he steps on the foot of Wood.
So it's Houston ball with a 1-point lead as they mop up the sweat. Well, actually, something spill over there. That'd be an awful lot of sweat.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with New York. You know, they lost Johnny Newman. You wouldn't think that was a huge loss, but they really struggled to hit the outside shot. They're going to be very dependent upon Kiki Vandeweghe to come back and be the old Kiki Vandeweghe. To give him some other weapons to go with Patrick. Otherwise, he's got a long year.
Wood, he got the 3-point bounce. I would think it'll be Boston and Philly going at it hammer and tongue for that division title.
People are saying Boston, Bob Cousy, in fact, was saying the other day, it's like the old Celtics, as much as they try and run the ball, even with the old guys.
We have an offensive foul. It is on Laimbeer on a hold, setting a pick. Philly gave it that kind of look that I think Sports Illustrated was looking for in the 30 rolls of film. They had really going through expressions of why me and no, I didn't foul, and it'll be interesting to see what they chose. That comes out tomorrow again. Olajuwon spinning inside and scoring.
Okay, that's a tough shot. Edwards was closing in on him from his right. Laimbeer had him on the left.
The guy has 23 points, 6-point game. Edwards camps in deep, got Olajuwon off his feet. It would have counted had it gone. Foul on Olajuwon. That is his third foul.
James will keep Olajuwon. Edwards at the line, shooting 2.
A lot of folks feel that it's going to be a race between the Pistons and Bulls for the best record in the East. And it's hard to argue that fact. Although if the Celtics pull together for one more year, they can make things interesting.
We'll see what happens in the second half of the season if they decide to stay with that run-and-gun offense. The development of Reggie Lewis and return to Brian Shaw, him and D. Brown coming in with super fitness, gives them a whole different backcourt this year.
They do have more depth at least this year. They don't have to rely on the same 5 guys all the time as they did a couple of years ago when they were, and 3 years ago when they just ran out of gas.
Excellent shot by David Wood that time. He isolated down on Aguirre, used his superior height.
Pass inside, another foul. It's on Olajuwon. It'll be 4.
See if Don Chaney plays this like a regular season game. Normally he would pull a team in this situation rather than play him with 4.
And he's going to yank him. Again, Olajuwon fouled out 6 times last year. And so Dave Feito will come on and replace him.
He was in trouble a lot more than the 6 times, though. And he didn't get the calls he kind of deserved as a superstar. He'd be in more trouble. His aggressive style of play.
We got 1. Where do it go now?
But he's paid his dues.
I'll say yes. Edwards has 8. 61-55 is the score. 20 to play in the third. That's Kenny Smith. Woodson, left-handed dribble drive, off-balance shot, and was with the rebound. Dumars changed the pace and score.
Good move, get the ball inside with the team out of there. Houston does not really have a go-to guy on the floor. We'll watch how their offense comes. Usually they'll run Woodson off some picks for the jumper.
Joe now 3 for 10 from the floor tonight. Kenny Smith with 3 and he hit it. He was wide open off the screen. That time he got enough lift off his jump, and he has 13. 63-58. 64. They gave him 3 points. Dumars again on a 19 drive. He has 8.
The middle opens up considerably when the team sits on the bench.
It is 64-60. Scoreboard is corrected to Houston total. Isiah knocked it away from Kenny Smith. Watch Dumars, a couple of successive drives. Nobody does it better from the 2-guard spot.
And Mike Woodson with that bad wheel can't take him one-on-one. He's going to have to play way off of him to deny the drive. That should open up the jumper for Joe if he wants it.
Set a put on Isiah. Kenny Smith back to Thorpe. Wheels inside. Final left open. Off the backboard. And he got the kick to his touch.
He's hit a couple of 15-footers tonight for them. Couple of bonus baskets.
6-point game. Isiah up and Laimbeer pick. Late arriving Final bangs him hard.
Yes, sir. That was a regular season foul that time.
Too much before. Final was put together. Down on the floor, 6:53 to play in the third quarter. The Pistons are down by 6 to Houston. We'll return. A special discount rate in effect through tomorrow if you should decide. Then we'll have 36 more Pistons games. Over 40 Red Wings telecasts, CCHA hockey, college football, senior professional baseball, Tigers off-season programming as well. All for one low monthly price. Just contact your local cable company for details. Leading rebounders, Hakeem Olajuwon has 7. Bill Laimbeer with 6 to pace both clubs in that department. Scoring, it's been Olajuwon 23 for the Rockets. And Aguirre still the Piston leader with 15. Pistons will head home after the ball game. We'll go back to work tomorrow. And certainly Thursday with a couple of spirited practice sessions and get ready for the Milwaukee Bucks on Friday night at the Palace. A little pregame ring ceremony.
Yeah, the banner raising, that's always it's always a lot of fun.
I was going to say,
it doesn't happen that often. Not exactly an annual event just yet. It is a special night, really. And one that if you do have tickets, if you are coming out, all the festivities start at 7:45. The ticket will say 8. So it's 7:45, and we'll want to be there for that.
I say get the second. I know one very long time ago you were saying, boy, would it be something to raise a banner? Now you're talking like it's a routine occurrence.
We went up there once for finishing third.
For finishing at the one, yeah, 80 days. David Wood denied penetration by Aguirre. Vital dishes to Thorpe. Offense is bogged down. Rebound, Aguirre. Gives it up to Isiah quickly. This is contributing to pass behind Edwards. Nice catch and a layup.
Ooh, he got bumped that time. He was hoping for a three-point play as he looks down Ted Bernhardt. That's a tough shot for Edwards.
Sure was. But he had enough ball control to lay it in. 66-64 now. Vital comes off the pick.
Don't really have the go-to guy down there.
He told me I couldn't do that. Now why you do it to me? Hey!
A holding foul.
Let's go, Mark. Let's go.
Like you told me I couldn't do that. Now why you do it to me? Going both ways.
That's all the players asked for. On the switch, Edwards picks up Kenny Smith back to Thorpe. Here's Laimbeer. Block Edwards. Thorpe again. Plays it in. He stayed with it. Give him some credit. Back the other way quickly. It's Isiah Thomas. A foul.
He's got it on court now. A couple of great drives. We talked about before. Make a couple of layups, a couple of short shots. It adds about 3 feet on your confidence factor for your jump shot.
Isiah with a 2-point jumper is 13. Kenny Smith tried to 3. Aguirre kept it alive. Thorpe has it inside. Block Edwards and a foul on James. So Thorpe will have a couple of shots coming.
Buda's doing a great job here on this shot. There's a little contact. You could hardly see it from that angle, but he started moving towards the camera as he was flipping that back up over his head. And there you see, kind of like that fall. Otis Thorpe doing a great job on the offensive board. 2 possessions in a row where he's come away with the ball.
And he's used the man now with Olajuwon on the bench with 4 fouls.
The only knock on Otis is that it's difficult in big game situations and in playoff time for him to be a crunch time player because his offensive game is kind of limited. He picks up so many of those points on the garbage.
Aguirre takes the give and go and then hit the pretty shot off the glass. Give you 17, 70-68. John Sally has replaced Edwards in the Piston lineup. Floyd, long bomb 3, short. Rebound off Aguirre's fingertips. Mark wishes he'd have had it.
I think he hit 38% last year from out there, so he can't make that shot.
Ooh, big time second. Yep, and a foul on Otis Thorpe.
Boy, yeah, that's scary when you're coming off of surgery like Isiah was. Even when you can see that coming and you have time to react to it. Otis Thorpe is really put together. Watch this now. Ooh, gets that elbow out there and that hip.
Isiah had to readjust his goggles after that one. This is the best. We have a blocking foul on Floyd.
No, we got breaks to the outside lane. Both feet.
Isiah taking the goggles over to Mike Gabinauer right now.
You know, wipe them off.
Outside lane.
I think most of the sweat on there is Thorpe's.
He got a good workout on that tear duct that he tore after that one. Boy, that would bring them to your eyes. It's really amazing that these guys get through the 82 games, and so many of them play every single time.
How long would you figure Isiah will have to keep the goggles?
They're talking about 30 days, something like that. If he's comfortable, he may stay with him longer. If he has a couple bad nights shooting, he probably will take them off. I think that's what he is.
70-69 is their score. Pistons down 1. Vital a pick on Dumars. Floyd missed the shot. Got the long rebound though. Vital wanted to hit. I guess Isiah. Floyd didn't give it up to Thorpe. The high rainbow. Not his shot. Loose ball foul. As Laimbeer hit the deck. Could be a technical foul. Yep. Bernie Pryor called it on Vital.
You can see by the look on Bernie's face that Vital wasn't going to get away with that one. Remember, the bigger the star you are, the more profane you can be. And when you're just sort of hanging around, you know, a good strong darn will get you to the line.
Yeah, shucks is the limit. You push it beyond that, and he's entered the technical zone. Well, I guess even Roger Clemens pushed that to the limit one time in the playoffs.
He even invented words that day.
Yeah, if you were a lip reader, you turned off baseball for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was great in slow-mo or regular speed.
So give Laimbeer 12 off the technical. We are tied at 70. Led by as many as 9 here tonight.
Pistons are in the bonus with 4.5 to go. Pistons are only 2 team fouls themselves. So Houston's ability to play defense be hampered here the rest of the third quarter.
They've really taken advantage of Olajuwon sitting on the bench with the foul trouble. Vital sits down now. Olajuwon is back out there. So he'll have to keep his hands in his pockets for a while with 4 fouls.
Don King is playing this like a real game. He's got an 8-person roster so far tonight.
They haven't dug any deeper. We haven't seen Dave Jamison. They're a highly touted rookie tonight. That surprised me.
I'm looking forward to seeing him. One of the great shooters. Jeff McCloskey just loved that guy.
Wood tries a 3 again. No. Rebound at 2. He's leading everybody in that department tonight. There's Wood on a drive, and Aguirre couldn't get out of the way. Foul mark. Smith is also out there for Houston. He is replaced Thorpe.
Now, the one advantage that rookies have is that the veterans have not seen their moves, so they can go to their favorite things and don't have to fear that the defense is going to take the moves they want away from them.
Olajuwon cut off by Sally. Bad pass, but the team still with it. Isiah, they took it away. 3 red shirts in front of him. This is to Aguirre. Mark, score! He went right to the bucket. 74-70. Pistons now with a 4-point lead. Good third quarter by the Champs. Olajuwon with a hook, lost the fingertip. Ball out of bounds, though, to Houston.
Pistons defense, though, is swarming right now, Fred. There are no open alleys when they turn up the tempo. You see Hakeem spin in. He just let that one go poorly. Pistons had it surrounded and ran into each other. Don't criticize for that one, though. It's just tough.
3.5 to play on the third. Been a good one tonight. Olajuwon back to Kenny Smith. Pitch and check with Olajuwon. Hakeem runs over Sally for his 5th foul. He's got to come out now.
Good anticipation by Sally that time to get his position. Wait for Hakeem to duck that right shoulder. Pistons on an 8-0 run the last 2 minutes.
They're going to make it 10-0. Thorpe's going to check in for Olajuwon, but Hakeem is out there. See if the Pistons go right at him. Sally slides safely into the low block. He was pushed from behind. Aguirre missed him. Rebound snatched away from Olajuwon by Dumars. Joey misfires. Isiah tried to tap, kept it alive. Sally in the paint goes right at Olajuwon. Hakeem stayed with it. 5 fouls in all.
I don't think they were going to give him that one.
Nope. There's Kenny Smith. This is to Larry Smith. No, Wood follows it in. David Wood has contributed 7 points for the Rockets tonight.
That was a big exchange. Pistons had an opportunity to go up 6. Trying to take control of this game with Hakeem coming out. Uh-oh.
Olajuwon, and he is done. If my addition is correct, that's 6. 7, yep. So obviously in a regular season game, Cheney would have had him out of there before. Not even remotely taking a chance.
He was fine, but there was no stoppage in play. He'd like to have it back and call a timeout probably on the last one.
So Olajuwon is finished with over 14 minutes to play in the basketball game. Pistons now in good shape. They lead at 74-72.
That was at Minnesota. Minnesota's won 2 games out of 12, and if the season ended today, they'd qualify. So the division's falling on our time. But that's a vastly improved Red Wing team, isn't it?
And getting in the playoffs, Minnesota might draw 8,000 or 9,000 for a game. Olajuwon is fouled out with 23 points, 10 rebounds, and this 6th foul. Stepped out on Isiah, and then the costly reach-in.
Yeah, that's one that you don't want to have. For sure. If you're Don Chaney, you just die a little bit on that one, and you say, well, thank God it's preseason.
Yes.
It's a tough situation. Houston's in. They came in last night, got in about 1 o'clock in the morning, I think, from Houston. And now they can't go home. They opened their season on Friday night against Seattle, so they will literally be on the road from last night all the way through till Friday. Surprised they're not going back home, but they just decided they're better off going out there and getting adjusted and play.
Isiah Thomas with the free throws, 76-72. Kenny Smith, pass out of bounds, Pistons ball. The tide is certainly turned in the favor of the Pistons here in the 3rd quarter. Vinnie Johnson is out there replacing Joe Dumars, and Dennis Rodman checks in, taking over for Aguirre. Marks had a strong game tonight with 19. Rodman in to the easy layup from Isiah. Got a feeling the Pistons can put this game away here. Rodman stays on the wood. Laimbeer with a near steal. Larry Smith is on the baseline. Give it to the Pistons.
See the fall-off that Houston will have if a team gets in foul trouble in any particular game, because their lineup shrinks. Not only size-wise, but they don't get that high off the floor either when Larry Smith takes the place to do.
Isiah for 3 off the Laimbeer screen. And all he's done in this 3rd quarter is pour in 13 points. And it's a 9-point Piston advantage.
He's had as good a preseason as I can recall him having.
Yeah, especially shooting the ball outside. Thorpe. Nope. Larry Smith bangs it off the shot clock. .120 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Isiah lost the dribble. Thorpe stepped out of it. Now a double team. Finds the open man short. Sally lays it in from Rodman.
That's a great look by Rodman.
11-point lead. Pistons get it back. Foot race. Isiah Thomas and Larry Smith. He takes it inside. Spins it home and he's fouled. He reversed it on Smith. It was showtime.
He just surprised Larry Smith. That's what caused the foul. Larry was giving him the shot if he just went in on the short side. Came back with a left-handed spin, and he'll get a free throw as a bonus. Watch this move now. Unmolested. Boy, that's a friendly call.
That's a great shot. Pistons explode into a lead of 13. It could be 14 when we come back. We've seen him over his career. Not do much in the first half. He not take any shots. He just do off this game and then put it into overdrive in the 3rd and 4th quarters. Too numerous to think of, I'm sure. Pistons have outscored the Rockets 19-2 over the last 5 minutes. And again, Isiah with 15 points in this quarter.
Now he's just taking the game over. No question about that. He said earlier that he and Joe would show you some different things, I think, this year from the backcourt. Vinnie Johnson's the guy that everybody's concerned about right now. Not that they're concerned that he won't come around, but how long will it take before he's back in mid-season form. And he's showing the flashes now, and that's what we want to see. The timing's coming back. He may play a lot of the 4th quarter tonight. He'd certainly like to get him as many minutes as possible. So if they get back to that same 3-guard rotation, the big additions in this year's club are going to be, hopefully, from a Pistons standpoint, the addition of William Bedford, which is almost a found commodity. And we'll see if Lance Plank develops into that fourth guard. And Drew Rollins, who we haven't seen tonight, they're counting on somewhere down the road. A David Greenwood type of season, perhaps, where they'll play isolated minutes. But Chuck always refers back to the playoff time when Greenwood and Hastings both played significant roles for this Pistons team.
And with the great Boston Celtics teams of the past, and Lakers, forget about the fact this club may not be hungry enough. That's not even a question.
No, I don't think there's any question about that. They're maybe better prepared this year mentally. A lot of the guys were talking about that last year with Mahorn being gone, there was that little indecision there. They didn't know how the referees would treat them. They didn't know if they were going to have to pay a price for having been the bad boys the year before, and they weren't totally prepared for the intensity that everybody came out and played them with last year on a night-in, night-out basis. This year, they seem to be a little more mentally prepared for that.
They know what to expect. One or nothing to carry out again. Remains to be seen.
Got a chance to see Jameson out there, who's number 32.
He's 32 points a game last year for Ohio U, third leading scorer in the NCAA.
They can flat out shoot the jumper.
With a 14-point lead, 17-point lead. Isiah in another zone right now. He has 24 points on a 19-point third quarter as he's just swishing threes.
He's got one of those comic relief nights going right now. He had 60-odd that evening, I believe, with Billy Crystal. Outscored Billy Crystal 60-odd to 2, as I was on.
Yeah, Billy didn't have a good night. They have a travel on Thorpe. I'd say the Rockets are a little unglued right now. All the Pistons have done is register 40 points in this quarter. We still have 9 seconds to go.
This may go for a 3 right here.
Pass inside the Rodman. How about an assist instead? 1 for 7, and the folks in Springfield are finding out why, firsthand, the Pistons have won 2 successive NBA championships with thoughts of a third. Suddenly a tight ball game has become a blowout. 91-72, Pistons lead by 19. We've got 12 more minutes of basketball coming your way. Houston has fallen off to 39%. Pistons really cooking to 48%. Rebounding, they lead it by 3, and turnovers 14 now for Houston, and 7 for the Pistons. A 25-2 run to completely put this game, if not out of reach yet, just about. As we begin the fourth quarter, that guy, the captain, perhaps finished for the night. He certainly put in the night's work at 24 points. Davison lost it to Vinnie Johnson.
Gaggles are really screwing him up. Huh?
Yeah, Sally for a dunk. Here's the Rockets in the third quarter, 42-20. And Sally starts the fourth quarter with an exclamation point. 93-72. Jamerson fires and scores.
That's what he can do. He can flat out shoot the ball as well as anybody in America. Pretty bold statement there for a guy who's first down.
All among college seniors. Let's put that way.
Right? The question was, could he get open? Could he make his shot? Develop his shot? But they can run him off screens all day. And between Thorpe and Hakeem, you can see what a valuable weapon he can be coming off baseline picks and screens. He doesn't need much room. He has unlimited range.
The guys have made it from Ohio U to the NBA, and Davison, they like him a lot in Houston. They take him some time, though, to get himself open in the NBA game, to get off those shots. Vinnie Johnson nails it. The Pistons in his zone right now.
Really playing well. Two other guys that made it from Ohio U to the NBA, John Sadowski and Dan Hauser from our staff.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm talking about on the floor. Thorpe, short. Gets his own rebound. Much room this Hakeem Olajuwon. Thorpe had it rejected by the rim. Vinnie Johnson, short. Jamerson was right there. Dumars with the rebound. Tried to get it inside to Rodman. Vinnie Johnson with some hustle, take it away from Thorpe. DJ and a crossover and a foul on Jamerson.
A great pass here from Vinnie Johnson. Once he snapped this off, the Sally goes right down the gut. Great pass, great finish.
Put that right on the money. once the Milwaukee Bucks see this game tape, I'm sure they're probably watching this thing live at home. They're going to scope a little bit hard. Jamerson for three. But it's short. Rebound to Caldwell.
Guy can't shoot.
Adrian Caldwell out there for Houston. Wood along the baseline. Lays it in.
A good quick move by Wood.
95-76.
He's made this clutch from out of nowhere.
Yep.
Keep in mind now, Buck Johnson is not playing tonight. Buck's developed into a pretty good ball player for them in the small forward position.
And he's hurting. So in some defense of the Rockets, they've missed a couple of starters. Vernon Maxwell still trying to get a contract hammered out. But once Olajuwon had his foul trouble, Pistons just took off and exploded. Foul on Sally. Non-shooting foul. Pistons by 9.
Got a two-man game that time, and Thorpe broke off the pick. Sally grabbed him by the arm. Good back there.
Thorpe from Floyd.
Throws the defense at the top of the key. With a head fake right and back left all along.
3 minutes into the final quarter. A whistle of foul inside on Rodman, a holding foul.
Vinnie's got a nice kick. That time down low, wiped out Wood. Wood had to grab Rodman.
Excuse me, a foul on Wood, not Rodman.
This is getting some good screens here in the second half. A lot more open shots, a lot more penetration here than we saw in the first. There's a lot more quick. How the guys just getting their timing back? It's been a long time since they played together.
The threat this time is to set is that everybody healthy to play. Pass break, Jefferson lays it in.
A little travels on Sleepy that sort of look the other way on the final preseason game.
And when there's a 15-point differential. 8.5 to play in the fourth. Edwards set that pick. Dumars. Give it too firm. Loose ball foul rebound on Detroit. And it's going to go against Vinnie Johnson. This is again this season with a couple of early West Coast trips, which proved beneficial last year. They'll get their West Coast junkets out of the way by the first week of December. Rodman with a save. He's down on that ankle. He's okay. There's Detroit back at home. Boyd with 5. 95-82. 13-point game.
The game's not in jeopardy, but Chuck would like to see them execute well here down the stretch. Make sure you win comfortably.
And he's still reporting back in for Houston. They'll stay out there with Floyd as Jamerson sits down. So the rookie comes up with 4 points. Edwards looking to set a pick for Dumars. Spins, doesn't get it from Joy. A winger from Dumars, in and out tough break. Rodman attack, no. Caldwell with a rebound.
I like Caldwell. He's like a young Larry Smith. No offensive skills, but boy, he's big and strong.
He's got the body. Caldwell with a catch and a pass out front to Kenny Smith for the bomb, and he's hitting up the net.
They're crawling back into this game. It's a big possession. They can cut it down under 10 if they can get a stop here. Get it into single figures. You always figure you got a 10.
So the Pistons will talk it over. Rockets making a bit of a run. They were threatening to be blown out of here. Now they're trying to make a game of it. 95-84, 77-22 to play in the fourth. We'll be back to Springfield. The swing shift replay of Pistons, Red Wings, and CCHA hockey at midnight. But this game will be rebroadcast tonight at the stroke of 12.
So we'll get back and watch it, maybe.
Yeah.
The old round ball dressed up. And now the interesting thing about this club that I don't recall seeing another team other than the Pistons who can turn it on defensively in a way that the other team says, uh-oh. I mean, you've seen it happen on offensive squads. Like in the Lakers, you get everything cooking. The Boston get everything cooking. Here they come in waves. I don't think of, I can't think of too many teams that could do it defensively, where you absolutely make you panic on the offensive end. And you take the first near open shot you can get.
Right before it's all said and done, this team may be the best defensive club of all time by experts. However, they would determine that. Pretty hard to argue the point. Boyd on the air ball. Pistons get it back. William Bedford's out there. Takes the quick shot. Followed up the rebound and it poked away. Here comes Ford in the open court. There's three Pistons in front of him. That's Thorpe from the foul line extended. Nasty quick there. Rebound Otis Smith. Out to Slinky Floyd. Another air ball. Ooh. That's a double hoop. Since it is Halloween. Come on. Naismith, good as raw as iron.
So that was off the shot clock.
I don't think the
Saturation bombing principle here.
I don't think they'll use this as a season ticket promo in Houston. It's not the last 30 seconds.
My theory didn't work in North Vietnam either. It wasn't right.
That's it. Backing in. William No. Rebound. Larry Smith. And it's hooked away by Rodman. Dennis wanted Pistons possession. But it's Houston ball. 6:17 remaining. 11-point game. Sneaking down as Caldwell. Slips it inside and lays it in.
Jeff's not going to be very happy with that one as it's cut to 9 again by the Rockets. He's kind of down on themselves on that last sequence. It didn't get back on D. Halfway through the fourth. He's been struggling a little bit with his shot now. It's a confidence factor.
Caldwell with a poke away. 3-on-2. Rodman sprinting defensively. And blocks the shot. There's a foul.
I think Vinnie is partway back.
Just explode on the jump.
A good quick hands move. Knock it away that time by Caldwell.
A pretty big play by a big man against the guard. Ricky Floyd hits the first of two. They look for his 7th point. And it's a 7-point game. Give Houston credit. They've come back with their star. Olajuwon fouled out.
If they really sat down, it would have been a different ballgame. Different team.
Vinnie Johnson dishes off the foul. John was fouled on the shot. Larry Smith.
14 foul for Houston, so Pistons will be shooting the bonus from here on out.
John Sally, the line to the
Coming, he has 4 points tonight.
That baseline jumper, if Sally could hit that consistently, it is there for him because it usually comes to him off of guard penetration. Guard penetration brings Sally's man off of him, the big forward or center, and leaves John alone for about 15 feet.
Stay with us after the game. Isiah Thomas will be our post-game guest. Talk to him about how the eye is coming along. And wearing the goggles. I want to find out if he took those goggles home right away and started practicing at home. No bucket. Foul before the Larry Smith shot. Kenny Smith penetration.
That's 4 on the Pistons. There will not be a shooting foul, however, since it was on the pass.
Yep.
You'll see him just take him off the dribble. He set up the pick on the left-hand side with Caldwell, and Kenny just broke back the other way.
Caldwell wants it in the post against Bedford. Gets it. Goes up a hook to short. Rebound Vinnie Johnson.
That was a big possession for Houston. Only down 7, still in this ballgame. It'd be a tremendous moral victory for them if they could win this against the champions.
Even with Isiah Thomas on the bench, just general rest. Tony Fire brings it back.
They originally called that offensive on Dennis Rodman. Aguirre was up and sprinting to the scoring table.
Fouls on Thorpe. Punchy and Rodman.
And Bernie just had mixed up on who was on offense and who was on defense. He was calling it on the guy. Thorpe. During, of course, several-year player with Portland. In the early 70s, I believe.
I'll get that preseason mistake out of the way. Sure, Bernie won't make another mistake the entire season. Rodman missing. Still a 7-point game. That's almost into Vermont.
All those guys down there in Houston can throw a long pass.
There's a run and shoot.
Finler and Andre Wood.
Vinnie Johnson off the pick, rattled it. Rodman up the back for a rebound, and Dennis gets the ball. Foul.
And that'll be free throws.
This will be 4 fouls in one.
Pistons really struggling to execute on the offensive end. They should be able to do some stuff inside with the team not in the game. And the Pistons having taller people down there, so they can at least get to the line. Or they have that trouble missing the last quarter.
Well, that was in a regular season game. Obviously, Isiah would have been back in by now, and right now, Lance Blanks comes in. But you got to see what some of the other guys can do in this situation.
Exactly, that's what Chuck is hoping to do. That's why Bedford's out there. Put him in crunch time moments to pressure changes. Although I'm not sure Lance Blanks could feel a whole lot more pressure. It's tough coming in here. He's had tough competition in camp. It's always a difficult adjustment for rookies, as we talked about.
95-90, 5-point game. Was 19. Vinnie Johnson got it.
That'll help. The big one, Vinnie, struggling to get off the snide here in the second half.
97-90. Back up to a 7-point pad.
For last year when Vinnie was coming off the injury, his shots were consistently flat and short.
Thorpe on a left-handed dunk. On a nice pick and roll. Thorpe has helped in Hakeem's absence. He has 18 points. 97-92. Two-man game, Blanks and Bedford. William clears, Blanks fires. Too strong. Rebound lost by Houston. Sally collects. And then loses the handle. Did it go off Houston? I believe it did. Watch this pick and roll again. Thorpe goes in strong with the left hand. Off a good feed from Smith.
I think he surprised William. William thought he would go with his power hand, which is the right. Otis has a great left for dunks.
After being outscored 25-2, Houston has come back with an 18-2 surge themselves. Vinnie Johnson left-handed roller, got it. DJ with 10. He comes to the rescue with a couple of straight hoops. 99-92, inside 4 minutes now to go in the ball game. 3:40 to be exact. And the Pistons hang on. Vinnie Smith darts inside, off-balance garbage. But, offensive foul. I thought Smith was going to shoot 2, but he was out of control. That's why Paul Mahalik made the call again. Don Chaney is upset about the way that whistle went. Bedford stepped in there. Houston felt that he had not set himself. So a pretty big call. Blanks back to Bedford. William had it knocked away, and then a foul as he tried to get it back from Caldwell. It was built like a Houston Oiler instead of Houston Rockets. He played linebacker for me.
That's for sure. T. Rollins will come in right now.
Let me ask you this. Does William hurt himself the last 2-3 preseason games in terms of playing time for the regular season? He struggled.
Losing a little bit of that confidence that he had. You could see it building and building and building. Not only in training camp, the guys were really behind him, but then he started performing so well, 6 games in a row in double figures, scoring. He may have been struggling a little bit to get into the defensive flow of it, but offensively he was doing really well. Then you have a game or two, and it really taxes you. And then once you start pressing, a lot of things fall apart. So, I don't think Chuck's going to be totally down on him. No question about that, because he's seen what he can do. But it's kind of pleasant time for William. He just needs another good effort, one more good effort, and he'll get that confidence back. I think he's going to be a very important member of this team.
I think so too. But I think for the time being, John Sally has probably earned back some of the minutes that, I'm just speculating, but that he may have lost, perhaps, the way Bedford was playing early on. Pretty hard to knock that rotation the way it's gone the last 3-4 years.
He's looking to supplement it a little bit if he can.
6-point game. BJ in the hole again.
Wrong move. Remember Fred about 3 years ago, then he started taking the ball aggressively to the hole. Didn't do it as much last year, but we've seen signs of it coming back here in the preseason since he signed the new contract.
I think it definitely injected some life into his career at that time. Added another dimension. And here's foul to Winchester comes in and knocks one down. Bernard Winchester. Just reporting in 101.95. Got bad sitting watching the game all night and nailing a tough day. 6-point game. 2.5 to play. Double two. Somebody open. This is slow to rotate. That's it. Got to get into the offense quickly. 3 seconds in the shot clock. Sally recognizes it, fires it up, and hits nothing but net. 103.95. Huge shot. Kenny Smith on the drive, and he was fouled. That'll put him at the line. The Pistons are over the limit.
They want to take that right hand away from Kenny Smith if you can. Make him go offense, or he has to do a jumper off the rim.
But first, the timeout. 2:03 remaining in Springfield. Kenny Smith to the line. His club trailing 103.95.
Three scrape in the bottom of the bill.
What, with you being our guest? Last resort, I'll call Wilson.
That's right. The players must have turned him down. And Jack and Chuck, the Brendan, Sarah Malone, Mike Abinelli.
I know they were. They tried Brooks Steppy, but he said he was busy. I'll remind you that Tiger Diary will come your way on Pass all season long with Larry Osterman. He'll get you caught up in all the hot stove league. So we'll be talking about an MVP award for Cecil Fielder. That, by the way, will be announced in about 3 weeks. It'll be the last segment of the awards. We'll start out next week with the Rookies of the Year. Then the MVPs. They should say them the Cy Young Award, and then the most valuable player on it. I think Cecil ought to get it. Hometown allegiance is decided. Blanks ran in the week, huge traffic, picked up by Rollins. Well, he got it over to the not quite in the manner you'd like. The coaching staff is very in disbelief. It's like Don Carter out there. They're not pretty right now.
Hey, I love the exhibition basketball.
Ball was kicked. The question is, by who last? John Sally is called for a foul. Probably a clip.
Yeah, that hurts.
Houston had an illegal man downfield. But they don't catch that. It's a 6-point game. Brian Dinkins in the ball game.
Kennard Winchester taking his shot.
Winchester will look for his 4th point.
Interesting. John Caney going to the deep bench here with a chance to win this game. Rollins just took his man. He got Otis Thorpe, who just took him right out of the picture that time. Threw the board away for John Shot.
9-point game. Vinnie Johnson goes to the hole again, and this time he is fouled by Dinkins.
They like Dinkins. He's a pretty solid player. He's just a little thin to make it. He gets pushed around a lot. He'll play a little one-on-one defense, but he can take him down inside. Watch Vinnie's free throws. Just in the early part of the season while he's getting his conditioning back. Very good rotation on that.
Palmer hit them both. 105.98. Pistons by 7. The clock winding down for the minute mark to play. Good hustle by Rodman. Times Winchester in the backside. Good hustle. Dennis just dove for that ball.
No, wait, inside.
1:18 to go. It must mean the ankle's feeling okay.
It's safe as long as you're driving, I guess.
No, he knows one way, and that's all out. Naismith gets called for a pushing foul. So Blanks has a couple of freebies coming with 1:16 on the clock. He called Larry Smith Mr. Mean when he came out of Alcorn State.
Just one of the great rebounders that has played this game
For his size.
for his size. Absolutely.
Not much at the free throwing line. That's another field. Yeah. But it's much
Judge Foxy's always believed that you have a player on your team, if he can do one thing exceptionally well, he can have value. And Larry Smith can do one thing exceptionally well. And he can help you out on the defensive end as well, particularly on both D.
When he first came in the league with Golden State, he was a ferocious rebounder. More of a physical rebounder than Rodman.
Hard work again.
He showed well. Yeah, he is. 107-100. This is trying to break the press. And a 20-second timeout is being called by Detroit. With 59.9 seconds to be exact left in the ballgame. Now they've changed it to a full timeout. And the Pistons leading 107-100.
20 seconds still left on the clock, so Pistons will have 6 seconds to get it up above half court when they inbound it.
In case you're wondering, this is the home of the Springfield Indians, by the way, in the American Hockey League. They've had a team here for a long time. Always been a good hockey town for minor league hockey. We'll be back. Pistons lead it by 7. We'll return to the final minute of play. Night on preview night on Devils Evening. And again, if you would like to take advantage of past throughout the winter season at a special discount rate, you can still call tomorrow. Get a hold of your cable company, and they'll give you all the details on Pistons, Red Wings, CCHA, Senior Baseball League, all season long on pass. And again, we'll be coming away Saturday night from the Palace for a 7:30 start, and then next Tuesday night, 8 from the night, from Seattle. That ought to be a noisy affair, and also considering the fact that there was a rather physical meeting between these two clubs in East Lansing over a week ago, in which Laimbeer and Isiah Thomas were hurt.
That'd be an interesting game. That's a very talented Seattle club. And yet out there in the West, I mean, they could literally finish in 5th place, despite the talent that they have
In that division, yeah.
If you look at some of those people that are out there, Derek McKee's a fine player, and you've got all-stars like Xavier McDaniel and Dale Ellis. John Kemp, a real up-and-coming young talent. And of course, the rookie Jay Baker.
Yeah.
That'll be solid starting 5 with some help coming off the bench.
That'll start a 3-game West trip for the Pistons. They'll take on the Clippers next Wednesday night, and then Portland, which is no longer, of course, the House of Horrors, which Pistons certainly took care of that, but that'll be a week from Friday.
It's a good time to play the Clippers, I think, for the Pistons. You know, you don't want to play them in the second game of a back-to-back, but you want to play them, I think, early in the year, because as this season goes on, that's a club that should just continue to improve, because young people playing. Lloyd Vaught impressed us when we saw him down in St. Louis earlier this year. Bo Kimball, we'll see what kind of player he is, but I think he'll be a lot better by the end of the season than he will be on November 7th.
And, of course, we're all taking picks as to when Denver will give up 200 points.
You know, they started bringing it down a little bit. The other day they played a game, I think they won, like 137, 136. Yeah, that's almost ridiculous rather than absurd. That defense kicking in there a little bit.
Yeah, they actually worked the shot clock down to 15 seconds before they took the shot.
Rich Jackson, they averaged 35 points a game this year.
Well, they say he's a little out of shape.
He can't be now.
Yeah, you wouldn't think.
After 3 weeks of playing in that offense, he can't be out of shape. Some of those guys, they Blair Rasmussen watching these games, and he's like half a court late both ways. He kind of hangs around from top of key to top of key. Never quite get back there, never quite get up there. And that team, you got got a cherry pick defensively.
Sword neck once. 109-100. Nice shot, good by Winchester. He's certainly shown a shooting touch here in the latter stages of the ball game. Up to 7 points. 109-102. Final 25 seconds.
21 to go as Vinnie went through there and got thrown to the ground. Right now, all you want to do is get out there and discover who's going to discover tonight. Give these guys a chance to get wet one more time. And have some valuable minutes for Bill Laimbeer, Dennis Rodman. And of course, Isaiah doesn't look like he's hurting it off from the Italian, so I don't think so.
Captain with 24 points, 19 in the third quarter. Vinnie Johnson hasn't had a bad fourth quarter either. He's come in with a dozen, and he has 2 free ones here at the line. So it all begins for real Friday night against Milwaukee. Hoisting of yet another banner atop the Palace Rafters. Second championship banner, hand out the rings. I haven't seen the new one yet. Not bad, yeah. Not bad, yeah.
Nice. Now everybody gets a commemorative keychain for the evening as well.
Now, did you tell Laimbeer ahead of time?
This is not a ring.
Chickens on the drive. Wow, he'll go to the line for a 3-point play.
It's upsetting the world, really. This is very nice. It's commemorative like a chicken. It has the back of that trophies on it, all in brass. Or semi-brass. Depending on what the price was. Maybe it's aluminum, but it's nice. It's actually painted on.
Brass filled. That's brass filled, yes. 16 seconds to go. As long as it beats with Billy the Tool, that's the main thing.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing. Those rings from last year are going for like $50 a piece if you can find them from collectors.
Really?
Oh, boy. And this year, somebody told us the other day, they said that by 2-week period, by the end of 2 weeks, that those little things will be passed out opening night. Will probably be worth about $10 a piece. Collectors will save anything.
Can't the CEO hang on to some of those and know what he would know?
Well, I got 10,000.
Yeah. Got a big
I had 5,000 if they told me what they were going to be worth. Yeah, I got a little college education I got to work on. I had a new kid the other day, so
yeah, congratulations. Thank you. You remember?
Actually, the other day it was 7:60.
But you're just catching up on things, right?
Well, when you get 2 hours of sleep a night, it's amazing how time just so quick passes. So much of my life. What do you think about this game?
111-104 the numbers. Got any pictures you want to bring out?
No, actually, I turned in all the baby pictures. Well, I mean nothing when you're 4 and 5. When you're 8 and 0, you tell everybody. Rockets had a good preseason. They were 6 and 2 coming in. They're 6 and 3 now, of course. We played against a mixture team. Pistons were happy. The record, because of the injuries, won't be exactly what they wanted, but we were real pleased because of who they played. That's the plus to put together a really strong schedule this year with Utah, New York, Boston, Houston.
Lee Rollins on the duck. 113-104. Box 6. And that'll do it. So the world champions come back to the birthplace of basketball. Put on a third quarter show to wipe out the Houston Rockets. Coming back to make it respectable. And a final score of 113-104. Isiah Thomas will be our post-game guest. Stay with us. We'll take a look at the final numbers and wrap it all up after this.